The Tony Awards honoring
They're cheering for me now.
reimagined iconic films,
I like the way you see the world.
original stories,
I'm meeting you in the woods.
and beloved revivals. Stars returning to the stage or making their debuts.
You are the creme de la creme.
From the dark to the corny. Let's celebrate the best of Broadway. Hello, I'm Dana Tyler. Welcome to the United Palace in Washington Heights, a magnificent place, and it's home to this year's Tony Awards. For the first time, the ceremony will air live from this magnificent theater on Broadway at 175th Street. The United Palace was built in 1930 as a movie and vaudeville house. It boasts an elaborate and eclectic interior with 3,400 seats, and the United Palace is the fourth largest theater in Manhattan. We'll have more on the history of the United Palace a little later. The adage, "the show must go on," takes on new meaning this year. The Writers Guild of America, which has been on strike since May 2nd, threatened to picket the Tony Awards. However, a compromise was reached, and the ceremony will go on unscripted. We start with the best musicals. It's a great mix of toe-tapping, finger-snapping, heartwarming shows. Dave Carlin tells us there's something for everyone.
The epitome of a feel-good musical.
Search every band, every dance hall from here to Timbuktu.
Jazzy,
When the saxophone starts wailing,
flashy, and tappy. Describes Some Like It Hot with 13 Tony Award nominations. Acting nominations for Christian Borle, J. Harrison G., Kevin Delagula, and Natasha Yvette Williams.
I hope you like your Broadway hot.
When that curtain comes up and that audience starts applauding, it is like, let's go.
G is thrilled his show celebrates diversity and inclusion.
It is people like Billy Porter, people like Andre DeShields that I stand on the shoulders of.
Some Like It Hot. Yeah. The message that you hope every audience member gets.
We can free ourselves to see ourselves.
It's about like who you are inside versus what the world is telling you you should be. And figuring that out is life.
A musical raising the roof with laughter is the supremely corny show Shucked. With 9 Tony Award nominations, 2 for castmates Alex Newell and Kevin Cahoon.
When I got the script, I was reading it and I was cackling in my home.
This corn ain't gonna shuck itself.
The first thing my mom said was, well, your dream came true. Yeah, it came true.
The pop hits of Katy Perry, Britney Spears, NSYNC, and others propel and Juliet with 9 nominations.
It's a pyrotechnic confetti concert, but then it also has this incredible story.
love's gonna conquer it all.
That's featured actress nominee Betsy Wolfe. 24-year-old New York City native Lorna Courtney plays Juliet in this show that imagines a happy ending for Shakespeare's usually doomed ingenue. Courtney has wanted this since she was a kid.
The 12-year-old that made up her mind and said, you know, I want to go to LaGuardia High School and I want to do voice.
The best reviewed musical of the season is Kimberly Akimbo, and it has 8 nominations.
I like the way you see the world. I like your point of view.
Victoria Clark is a leading actress nominee.
It's the story of a girl who's coming into womanhood who has a disease. It's a made-up disease, very strange made-up disease, where she's aging way too fast. She's aging at 4.5 times faster than she should. One reason people are responding to the show is they can connect with this idea that they don't know. None of us know how much time we have.
Also nominated from her show are Bonnie Milligan and Justin Cooley.
We know what it is to not know what the days ahead look like and to be scared and to be losing things. And that's the world that we find these characters in.
To think that I would be 19 getting a Tony nomination, and so it's unbelievable to know that the stars have aligned in so many beautiful ways thus far.
Right up Broadway, they're cheering for me now.
A Love Letter to the Big Apple is New York, New York. It has 9 nominations. Nominated leading man Colton Ryan plays a struggling musician who finds success and love in this city he calls the star of the show.
How do we celebrate this city, the place that has given all of us so much, who's singing this glorious music? It's pretty humbling. It's pretty humbling. We just led the whole thing with joy and love.
So it's up to you to check out all the razzle-dazzle of the Tony Awards June 11. Dana?
For many nominees, the play's the thing.
Does it say Vincent Black? Does it say Cry Black? I said black, black, blacker than black, black.
Ain't No Mo is the most Tony-nominated play with 6 nods. Jordan E. Cooper is nominated as playwright and as featured actor.
I think it validates the fact that, you know, we have to find some new infrastructure to lift up some plays that don't have celebrities.
There are 3 Pulitzer Prize-winning dramas in this category, including the Stephen Adley Gurgis play, Between Riverside and Crazy.
It's usually the play that commits me to the character.
Cost of Living was written by Martina Mayok.
Wrote a beautiful, powerful, personal play. And to be a part of it, I was just so ecstatic.
Playwright James Imes creates a humorous and poignant take on Shakespeare's Hamlet in Fat Ham.
It takes a lot of energy to stay on top of the comedy because you got to be, 2 steps ahead of the audience.
And Tom Stoppard's Leopoldstadt, the story of multi-generations of a family facing anti-Semitism in Austria.
There isn't a Gentile anywhere who at one moment or another hasn't thought Jew.
This play is probably the most personal thing that I've done. It really is the story of my own family.
In Goodnight Oscar, Sean Hayes embodies Oscar Levant, the composer and actor who didn't shy away from speaking his mind in the 1950s and 60s. Levant often talked about his mental health and addiction struggles. Hayes is a classically trained pianist, and he's Tony nominated for this role.
It's an incredible honor. It's extremely rewarding when you stick through with something and this happens.
The musical revival of Sweeney Todd is up for 8 Tony Awards, including its leading actors. Annalee Ashford plays a failing meat pie maker cooking up a recipe of vengeance with the exiled barber Sweeney Todd, played by Josh Groban.
Is the politician so oily? It's served with a doily. Have one.
Put it on a bun. Well, you never know if it's going to run.
Second nomination.
Yes.
How does it feel, Josh?
It's an extraordinary feeling. Wanting to be part of the theatrical community for my entire life, to feel that embracing and welcomed me as, admittedly kind of an outsider coming in from the world of music and concerts. It's something where you really want to get it right.
Get it right, he says, because of their reverence for the 1979 musical masterpiece by Broadway legends, composer and lyricist Stephen Sondheim, and director Hal Prince. The original comical and cunning pie maker was Angela Lansbury. Who is your character? How did you find her?
Well, Angela Lansbury is absolutely woven into the tapestry of not only the role but the piece itself.
These are probably the worst pies in London. These are probably the worst pies in London.
So I feel her spirit all over the place, and ask for it, and I'm grateful for it.
The Beggar Woman is played by Ruthie Ann Miles, nominated as featured actress. She says the audiences are so giving.
To feel their energy and to be recognized by that wall of love. It's not an audible thing, it's a feeling that comes from the audience. And we're so grateful for the people who come to live our story with us every day.
Till now you're shine was merely silver.
So how does he let go of that gruesome demon barber of Fleet Street?
So for me, the challenge is, after tapping into those things every night, washing it off, going home, watching a nice CBS comedy.
Well said, my friend. 3 other big musicals are nominated for Best Revival. Dave Carlin shows us their journeys to the Tonys.
Into the woods and through the fear, you have to take the journey.
With both Into the Woods and Sweeney Todd in the running, the late, great Stephen Sondheim looms large over the Tony Awards race for Best Musical Revival. Into the Woods is Sondheim's delightful mashup of several fairy tales.
Let's hope the changes last.
Brian Darcy James and Sarah Bareilles are nominated for their performances as the baker and his wife.
It was such a lesson in how to sing Sondheim, not to push it.
We had none, we've got 3. We need 1.
And the intricacies of a Sondheim score. Did that pull you into a different place from your pop music?
Yes,
singing?
most definitely. The music is really complicated and demanding. So yeah, there was a lot of stretching.
Another nominated revival is Parade. The Jason Robert Brown musical has a powerhouse cast led by nominees Ben Platt and Michaela Diamond.
I love musicals that are complicated and challenging and make the audience feel something gray and don't give them all answers, but maybe just pose questions.
Parade tells the true story of Leo Frank, a Jewish businessman wrongly convicted of murder and lynched by a mob in 1915.
We do have kind of a hard track. Of course, there's kind of all this trauma in the show, and yet because of our arc, we get to live in this love.
Something all the nominated musical revivals have in common: big, lush orchestras, including Camelot.
It's me, it's me.
This staging of the Lerner and Loewe classic boasts a book updated by Aaron Sorkin that focuses squarely on the complicated triangle of King Arthur, Guinevere, and Sir Lancelot.
If ever I would leave you.
Playing Sir Lancelot is Jordan Donica.
And it is about love, but underneath the surface of all that are all of these seemingly ridiculous, useless problems that we still deal with today. How we treat outsiders, how we treat ourselves, how we treat those we say we love.
Never could I leave you at all.
In the theater district, Dave Carlin, CBS 2 News.
What you see on a Broadway stage is by design. A neighborhood, a train station, a construction site high above New York City. Next, we'll meet a Tony-nominated scenic designer. But first, here's another nominee.
This play just holds so much of Lorraine Hansberry's brilliant mind and heart and her beliefs in it. I've been with the play since 2016.
Nora's in charge of her change. She's been changing before we've even really met her.
What's going on?
Sit down. This will take a while.
Yes, we don't have a set. Yes, we don't have costumes, and we don't have props. But we do have these amazing words.
The reimagined revival of Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House is nominated for 6 Tony Awards. Wendell Pierce gets his first Tony nomination as an actor in Death of a Salesman, and he made history in this Arthur Miller classic. This was the first time on Broadway the Lohman family was portrayed by black actors.
And whoever is playing the role of Willie Lohman and playing the Lohmans, we have a great responsibility to the authenticity and the humanity that is in the play.
There were promises made across his chest. You mustn't tell me you have people to see.
I share this accolade with everyone who's a part of that journey.
Scenic designers set the stage for Broadway shows. Their work is detailed, and the process can take months, if not years. Alice Gaynor takes us inside the studio of a Tony nominee.
Before New York, New York came to life on the big stage,
so this is the New York, New York sign.
It was created on a much smaller one.
And this is the start of the show.
Set designer Beowulf Borrett.
Trying to show both the kind of the grittiness and the dirtiness of New York, and also the beauty of it, and how those two things live constantly at the same time.
To accomplish the grit, rusty fire escapes.
There are 6 of these, 4 of them move, but they're all solid iron.
For the beauty, a scenic painter created hand-painted backdrops.
She has this sort of brilliant technique of painting onto a translucent canvas, so when we light it from behind, the skies glow and the windows glow.
To depict an accurate 1946 New York City, he relied on photographs taken back then by the city's tax department. And one other very famous photograph served as an inspiration for this number.
The top of these beams is covered in a 1/4 inch of steel plate, so that the steel on their tap shoes hits the steel on the plate and makes a very, very unique sound. Every night it's a tricky thing to assemble because it's almost like a 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. Has to come flying out of the wings and out of the flies and assemble on stage with a bunch of people on it and then disassemble again just as fast.
Borit estimates there are about 70 city locations represented.
Sometimes we will pop through 3 locations in about 15 seconds.
Like the moment the actors are in a snowy Central Park.
Suddenly the doormen all hold their shovels up in the air, they spin them around, and on the backside of the shovel is the railing of Bow Bridge, and it creates the railing.
It all starts with sketches, technical drawings, and paintings, then models, a combination of handmade and 3D printing.
This is Jimmy's apartment where he pulls instruments off the wall, and there's a single number where he's kind of a one-man band and plays every instrument in the room because he's a music nut.
Already a prior Tony Award winner.
And there's the obligatory spin.
This marks Borit's 6th nomination.
When the people who you work with in the community says, hey, you did a great job on this, it's incredibly meaningful.
And post-pandemic, he says the show has taken on an even deeper meaning.
New York's a tough place to live, but we all love it or we wouldn't be here. And so I think this sort of love song to the city is that much more poignant right now.
Alice Gaynor, CBS 2 News.
Coming up next, a look at the historic United Palace here in Washington Heights.
I'm beyond honored, and it was beyond my wildest dream to think I would get one of these pins.
Theater is the ultimate collaborative art to me. We cannot do any of it without each other.
You won't be here.
Why not?
You got your drive.
I was so fulfilled and so proud of the work and the fact that we were able to get Ohio State Murders to Broadway so that Adrienne Kennedy could have her Broadway debut at the age of 91. I was already proud and grateful and fulfilled, and so this is just icing on the cake.
6-time Tony Award winner Audra McDonald is once again a nominee, this time for her role in Adrienne Kennedy's Ohio State Murders. Broadway's biggest night shines a spotlight on the United Palace and its rich history. The United Palace at 175th Street and Broadway is in the heart of Washington Heights. Opening in 1930 with vaudeville shows and movies, it was one of the city's 4 wonder theaters. Downtrodden during the Depression, people had the chance to be awestruck by the theater's opulence.
The theater was designed where you entered through 3 sets of doors, and you would slowly leave your worldly concerns behind. And the idea that this was made for the common folk. Yes. Folks paying $0.25 to get in, and the Lowe's Corporation wanted you to feel like you were a king, you were a queen, you deserved to walk into a space like this.
Mike Fiddleson is the CEO of the United Palace. From the majestic foyer, we head to the 3,400-seat theater with decor as eclectic as this year's Tony-nominated shows. I see Far East. I see a little bit of everything in here.
The architectural critic David Dunlop referred to it as Byzantine, Romanesque, Indo-Hindu, Sino-Moorish, Persian, eclectic, Rococo, Deco. They wanted to create a space that doesn't exist anywhere else.
The Tonys are going to be here this year. How important is it?
Having the Tonys here in Washington Heights means everything to us. And it's an acknowledgement of all the work we've done here in the theater over the years and for the community.
A community that's proudly welcomed America's first-time residents.
Historically, that has been one immigrant group after another. The last couple of decades, that was largely folks coming from the Dominican Republic.
Likely saving the United Palace from demolition, in 1969, televangelist the Reverend Ike bought the building. It's a versatile venue now, a spiritual, cultural, and arts center with eager supporters, like the creator of Hamilton and In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I said, you know, Lin, we've got this great theater in your neighborhood. What do you want to do with it? Without blinking an eye, he said, let's bring movies back to the United Palace.
Sure enough, Miranda hosts free movie screenings at the United Palace, a landmark that's getting its close-up.
The beauty of what the Tony Awards is doing and how they're framing this is they're celebrating Washington Heights as another place where great art happens.
Next, we'll hear from an actress making her Broadway debut after success on a London stage, as our look at the Tony Awards continues.
To receive this recognition is amazing, and it's beyond anything I would have ever imagined.
The prosecution finishes, then it's time. The judge looks at me. It's your witness, Miss Ensler.
Tell me how you feel being nominated.
Again, it's surreal. Night after night, all we wanted to do was just come in and play and do the work.
And I'm gonna show you the cards. 2 red cards, only 1 spade. Dark winner down in the center, red loser on the sides.
The 76th Tony Awards are Sunday, June 11th at 8 p.m. You can watch it live right here on CBS 2 and streaming on Paramount+. Thank you for joining us from the United Palace in Washington Heights, home of this year's Tony Awards. I'm Dana Tyler.